What's up, everybody, and welcome to a new video here on the channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different because we're doing a Commander Deck deck because my Shuffle Up and Play episode just came out. It was incredibly awesome to be on Shuffle Up and Play. It was basically the first real Commander show that I got to be a part of, because I recorded Shuffle Up and Play. Then I went to Florida to record for CGB's Commander show, the Worst Possible Commander show, which the episodes are also awesome. And after that, I had an opportunity to be on Game Nights Live. So we've done a lot of Commander stuff in the past couple of months, but it all started with Shuffle Up and Play. So I was also very, very nervous as I recorded that episode and stuff. But yeah, now here we are, and I figured I don't have a video for tonight, so why not talk a little bit about the deck that I built for the episode. My first ever Commander deck. You guys know that building decks in Magic is kind of where my passion lies. And I think Commander is just a fantastic outlet for that, which is also why I've really kind of started loving Commander a lot. Before Shuffle Up and Play, I played Commander, but I usually did precons because it's just easier. And I am convinced that precons are truly one of the best physical paper products that you can buy. They're just incredible value for your buck. And I felt having a precon, it's always the level about the power of your deck is always easy. You're just I'm playing a precon. If you want a precon, let's play precons, and it ends there, and you just have a balanced game usually. But for Shuffle Up and Play, I had to balance a deck myself from scratch. So I had access to Dr. Lupo's deck list, and I was trying to build a deck that was kind of matches with that power level. So this deck is not completely optimal, and that's for a reason. There's also a lot of flavorful stuff in there. So I'm not sure exactly what power level you would call this, but it's not the most busted way you could ever build a Gisa deck, and that's not the point either. It's supposed to be flavorful, it's supposed to be fun, but it was also strong enough to the point that they can still win, the Gisa deck has done me a lot of favors, and you can now check the Gisa deck live in action on Shuffle Up and Play over on the professor's channel, Tolarian Community College. You can also check an episode with me playing Gisa on the Worst Possible Commander show over at Covert Go Blues channel. So anyways, Gisa, the Hellraiser, and I chose Gisa because, I wanted to have first of all, I want to have a baddie commander, we want to have a baddie. Black is my favorite color to work with in Magic, and I wanted to have something that was allowed me to still play a sacrifice deck without being super obvious. And I thought Gisa was just a great opportunity to play kind of a typo deck, which I also love, huge fan of that. But also still having that sacrifice elements. Gisa creates so many zombies. They make great sacrifice fodder as well, and a lot of sacrifice cards also kind of commit crimes at the same time. So I felt it was a really good sweet spot there to make Gisa the ultimate sacrifice and typo commander, which is everything that I love. And on top of that, she's a bad bitch. So we care a lot about that as well. So Gisa the Hellraiser, 5 mana, War 2, pay 2 life, which is awesome as well. It says skeletons and zombies you control get +1/+1 and have menace. Whenever you commit a crime, create 2 taps, 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature tokens. This ability triggers only once each turn. So we have zombies that we care about a lot. We need to commit crimes, and ideally we commit crimes in our opponent's turns, which is why we have a lot of ways, instant speed ways to do that, or artifacts help us out and stuff like that. So trying to get zombies on every single one of your opponent's turns was kind of the goal of the deck. And the zombies also make fantastic sacrifice targets. So what is not to love? But we're gonna just look at the deck list here on Moxfield, and we're gonna just go over every single card a little bit if I have something cool to say about it. Another thing is this deck is about 90, I would say 95% of what I've played on the show, because I need to get a bunch of cards in Portland. And some cards just weren't there. Roaming Throne is in this deck list, but not in the physical deck that I play. There just literally were no Roaming Thrones in the stock. So what can you do? But if you're looking to play a zombie or a Gisa deck yourself, you have a Roaming Throne, go for it. And if not, don't. That's really just the way I feel. Commander's 100 cards. Sometimes you'll play 10 games, you'll never see one of the cards. So as long as the overall deck plays good, then what's it really matter? So no zombie deck is complete without Liliana's. that is just the way it is. Liliana Last Hope, 3 mana planeswalker. Her uptick is a good way to commit crimes. Up to 1 target creature gets -2/-1 to your next turn. The middle ability, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. You may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Always good. We love that. And her ultimate, you get an emblem with at the beginning of your end step, put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. And that just like swarms the board if you ever get to like Liliana's ultimate in a deck like this. You have Liliana Dreadhorde General as well. Great way to like draw cards with the static effect. +1 creates zombies. We love that always. The -4 doesn't commit a crime, but it's just like a really good effect, especially because we have such like sacrifice fodder and your opponent might not. So the -9, each opponent chooses a permanent and take control of each permanent type and sacrifice the rest. I doubt you ever get to this, and it's also like kind of like a mean action. I would just do it to like, you know, if you need to close your games, go for it. But Liliana Dreadhorde General is also just a very powerful card. Forsaken Miner, 1 mana, 1/3, one mana 2/2. I looked at the gnawing zombies. I was going about it. And this is our like little crime guy from OTJ. Whenever you commit a crime, you may pay black, and if you do, you return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Once again, just fantastic like sacrifice fodder, like which we love, and obviously carries like the skeleton type, which is also relevant for Gisa. Another cool thing though is that with MH3, I haven't even like looked at this deck list from like an MH3 perspective, because we now have like Foreign Soul Trader as well. 3 mana, 3/3, pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, create a treasure token, and it's a zombie goblin wizard. And this would kind of like allow you to go infinite in this deck with either like a Forsaken Miner or a Gravecrawler and like a Blood Artist and then a Soul Trader, because you can keep sacrificing it and then you can keep bringing it back with the treasure that you create. And that's kind of like a cool, I might want to like add this in there. We were kind of like, one of the things that we like spoke of for like the Shuffle Up and Play episode is that we didn't want to have any like, you know, game-winning combos in there, really. It just wasn't really like what the goal of the episode was. Because initially I was also thinking of like, yeah, well, I might as well like shove like a, you know, a Bloodletter of Ashlizzlle or something in combination with like Rush of Dread here. And I was like, you know. But I might want to add the MH3 card. I do think it could be cool, especially now that I don't have to like play it on an episode, and if him like playing it at a MagicCon or like another show that might want me to play there, then maybe I'll do it. But yeah, haven't really looked at the MH3 yet, so this is really just like OTJ. And also haven't really looked at like Assassin's Creed. I'm not sure if there's any cards in there for this. I doubt it. Gnawing Zombies, sacrifice a creature, target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Fantastic way to commit crimes. This deck is also playing Where is My Agatha's Cauldron, so that activated ability is also something that like is pretty like valuable. And just like a really like cheap zombie on top of that. Lord of the Accursed, like a zombie lord. We love that activated ability, really cool. Zombies gain menace, just a great way to like push some like damage through, you know. Plagued Rusalka, 1 mana, 1/1. Black, sacrifice a creature, target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of turn. Once again, awesome way to commit crimes, you know. You can just do that on all of your opponent's turns if you have Gisa in play, and you just like create, I don't even like, you just put a bunch of power on the board. Like I said, every time you commit a crime with Gisa in play, you add 6 power to the board. So imagine doing that of all of your opponent's turns. Vadmir, I had to just add Vadmir in there. Like I wanted to have a few more like crime cards. Like I said, I really wanted to like be in the fine line of having it be like a zombie typal deck, a crime deck, and like a sacrifice deck. So I need to have some like Vadmirs, or a Vadmir in a deck too. Morbid Opportunist, a classic. We need to draw cards, so that's why that is in there. Undead Augur, 2 mana. Whenever the Augur or another zombie you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Like I said, card draw is good. So you got to make sure that you have access to some card draw. Midnight Reaper, another great way to draw cards. Zombie Knight, love to see it. Whenever a creature you control dies, deals 1 damage to you, draw a card. Carvac the Punisher, here we go back to a little bit of like the crime. Because whenever you commit a crime, exile up to 1 target black card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast a copy, and if you do, you lose 2 life. Super strong card. And I was initially thinking about maybe having Carvac as my commander, but I thought that Gisa was just like a little bit more flavorful and like allowed me to do the sacrifices and playing with creatures, because that's just what I really, really love in Magic. With Carvac the Punisher, it's just also really sweet with like all these like instants and sorceries that are, you know, like in your graveyard. Like we commit crimes and being able to like bring back like removal or even Thoughtseize. It's just a lot of fun. And this, speaking of Thoughtseize, like this is a complete meme, by the way. Like I'm not telling you to shove Thoughtseize in your commander deck all of a sudden, even though I don't think it's like bad in this deck necessarily because of that like recursion potential, and it's a very cheap way to commit a crime. It was just like at the end of the day, it was kind of in here for like a meme that like me and Niall were kind of like talking about. Like, we know that Commander players think that Thoughtseize is like garbage, and Thoughtseize is like one of the like competitive staples for fucking however many years now. We're like, you know what? We gotta shove a Thoughtseize in there. And of course, what card do I have on the Shuffle Up and Play episode? Fucking Thoughtseize. I had it in my hand. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get cooked by the comments, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Let me Thoughtseize the prof, you know, for the memes. But yeah, either way, I hope people can like appreciate the funsies there rather than be like, this girl is fucking crazy, even though both are true, you know. Anyways, we keep you going. Murderous Rider, great removal with the adventure side, and also just like a lifelink zombie creature. We love that. Cemetery Reaper, 3 mana 2/2. Other zombie creatures get +1/+1. We love a good zombie lord. And an activated ability, exile target creature card from a graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Like, this card like embodies the deck in a way, you know what I mean? Like zombie lord, but also a fantastic activated ability that allows you to commit a crime on any of your opponent's turns and then get yourself even more zombies. So really sweet, and once again, great synergy with the Cauldron. I wonder if I was gonna like make this deck like even stronger, I would probably work with a bunch of tutors, which is also something that like we didn't really like want, right? Like, you don't want to like keep tutoring up a bunch of shit ideally. I also would probably find a way to like tutor for, you know, like Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I really think it's like one of the strongest like cards in the deck, especially because I really looked for a lot of zombies with like activated abilities. So if you're trying to build a Gisa deck, I can highly recommend, and you want to build it stronger than this one, I can recommend maybe like adding some tutors and trying to like get to the Cauldron, because it's just so good in a deck like this, and also a great way to commit crimes on your opponent's turns. I'm not playing a zombie deck without Champion of the Parish, so that's why we have a Champion of the Parish in here. Gary, you gotta, like, Gary was really just like in here to have the deck kind of like be able to match the table in a way, because like, you know, Gary's a good card. Like, if you play mono black, you want to have a powerful deck, you're adding Gary. Period, you know. And Gary's a zombie, so that's my excuse. Then we have Grave Titan, which is West Deck Tyrant. I don't know. I'm not sure if this card made the final cut. I think it did, because it's just iconic. 6 mana 6/6. When it enters battlefield or attacks, you create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Big boy with Death Touch. It's the most expensive card in the whole deck. I think there's a way for us to see the curve. Yeah, it's just a lot of 1-drops, 2-drops, and 3-drops, which is what I love in Magic. It's very much like me in a deck. And we have a few permanents with mana value like over like 3, but not much. Like, you know, we love cheap decks, and that's what we're doing. But the Grave Titan is like an exception to that. Priest of Forgotten Gods, you already know. Like, I'm not gonna play a commander deck without Priest in there. Like, I don't, like, you can't convince me. Like, you want me to be on your commander show and not play Priest? It's not an option. Priest also completely cracked in Commander. I had no idea. Like, when I started to experiment with Priest a little bit, dude, like, sacrifice 2 other creatures, any number of target players, each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature, add 2 black and draw a card. Like, the Commander players, if I play Priest in like 1v1 competitive Magic, she's dead the second she like lands on the board. Commander players are just like, we're not going to take this out, because a lot of Commander players also just do not play enough removal. Like, you guys do not play enough removal, you know? And that's also, this deck is like, we are the vibe controllers on the table. Like, if a threat needs to be removed, this deck can do it. But Priest lived for so long. Like, in my Shuffle Up and Play episode, and a bunch of episodes I've played since, like, or games I've played since, I meant, like, Priest just lives. Like, what the fuck? You guys are crazy. Priest needs to die. Like, this card takes over games. And it's also just a great way to commit crimes, and it just works really nice in a deck. But if you're telling me that Commander is the format where Priest peaks, I'm playing Commander. Like, that's all you need to know. Carrion Feeder, 1 mana, 1/1 Carrion Feeder, cannot block, sacrifice a creature, put a 1 counter on the feeder. Just a good way to like have that like sacrifice synergy going, and also nicely with the Cauldron, which is like a cheap zombie, and we just love to see it. Teleport Cutthroat. This is why exactly we have the Carrion Feeders like vibing, because we're also playing Blood Artists in here. So it's kind of like a way to, you know, close out games in a way. So you could just sacrifice your whole board and deal a bunch of damage to your opponents. The Carrion Feeders in here, because like I said, it's a free sacrifice and we care about those. I'm not sure if I ended up having Woe Striders in here. I don't know if I did. But like I said, that card from MH3 would just absolutely be perfect for this deck. So I'll have to make sure I grab a copy and like shove it in here. And I would still keep the Carrion Feeders in there, because I think having those like sacrifice outlets are good. But yeah, having some more, like the MH3 card is definitely like a better alternative. Yeah, the Zulaport Cutthroats. Whenever a Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. Perfect in a deck like this. We create a bunch of zombies. We go super wide, and we have ways to sacrifice them. That just like drains your opponent. A Yara, another great way to drain. Whenever a Yara or another black creature enters the battlefield in your control, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. So with like the Cutthroats, the Ayaras, it's just a good way to like, you know, slowly like bring down your opponent's like life total, and before they know it, they take a whole zombie army into the face and die. And also the activated ability is awesome. Blood Artist, there we go. Whenever a Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Such a fantastic way to commit crimes. Like, you know, you make a creature die, target you, target you, target you, did it on your opponent's turns. All of a sudden, Gisa is giving you like 2, 4, 6 zombies. So that's kind of what we care about. Geralf's Messenger, I don't think this made the cut at the end. But still a good card. When it ends the battlefield, target one that loses 2 life with the Undying. Just makes a good sacrifice outlet. But I think I would replace that. Probably replace Geralf's Messenger with the card from MH3. Headless Rider, 3 mana, 3/1. Whenever Headless Rider or another non-token zombie you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Super great card. Also, Geralf's Messenger is kind of, I guess, in here for the synergy with Yawgmoth, who's in the deck as well, but you know. Anyways, Jadar. Jadar is the great way to create like zombie fodder. We love that. Death Baron, like an amazing zombie lord. +1/+1 and Death Touch. It's just super sweet. Diagraph Colossus. With a 1/1 counter on it for each zombie card in your graveyard. That's how that little guy, big guy, enters the battlefield. Whenever you cast a zombie spell, you create a tab zombie. Good way to go wide. This is Lord of the Undead, another zombie lord, and an activated ability that returns a target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. The Gravecrawler, awesome creature. 1 mana, 2/1 zombie, cannot block a make as Gravecrawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. And that's just like a fantastic sacrifice outlet. But now with the, I keep forgetting the name. I'm just gonna like open a tab. The Warren Soul Trader, there we go. It's kind of like an infinite combo that you could add in the deck, which is just really sweet, I think. Plague Belcher, Zombie Beast, 3 mana, 5/4, enters the battlefield, but 2 -1/-1 counters on target creature control. Whenever another zombie you control dies, each one loses 1 life. We love that. We care about that. We care about like having the zombies die. That's the sacrifice synergy in a deck. I gotta play Braids. Like I also want to play make a Braids commander. That will probably be one of my like next decks that I'm working on. Like 3 ideas now for decks that I want to build. I want to build a Braids deck. I want to build Anne Bonny and Mary Reed from Assassin's Creed, and that will just be like an all-female is that pirate deck with a bunch of baddies. And then I had the insane, like, you know, honor of being my own Magic card now. That was from the Gavin's Unknown event and Magic on Amsterdam. There's now a card in the game called the Ashlizzle, and it puts basically, it's like a 6 mana creature, and upon attacking you create a random like creature card with the word Ash in it. It's really cool. I was incredibly like honored and grateful for Gavin for like putting my name on a Magic card. So I definitely have to build a Commander deck around that, and I want to build one around Braids because Braids is so cracked in Commander. And also just kind of like a fantastic like sacrifice outlet, you know? So Crypt Breaker, the classic 1 mana 1/1, activated ability, 2 mana and tap, discard a card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield, and tap 3 untapped zombies to draw a card and you lose 1 life. Also so sweet with Cauldron, which is why I'm like, this deck should really find a way to tutor into Cauldron or something. Tiny Bones, I'm playing Tiny Bones. Like, I don't care. You want me to commit crimes? I'm playing Tiny. Like, I actually don't know if I ended up getting my hands on a Tiny Bones. I think I did. 1 mana, Skeleton Rogue. So the Skeleton also works with Gisa. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-permanent card from the player's graveyard and mana of any type of enemy spent to cast that spell with Death Touch. So it's just a great way to, you know, keep the game a little dynamic and perhaps snatch some like good cards out of your opponent's graveyards. Yawgmoth, I mean, like one of the best sacrifice outlets in the whole game, probably. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, and put a -1/-1 counter up to 1 target creature and draw a card. Fantastic way to commit crimes. Fantastic way to like, you know, draw cards, and fantastic way to like sacrifice your board if you have like the sacrifice payoff cards in there, like Blood Artist. So yeah, I had to snatch some Yawgmoths. Vein Ripper, you know, 6 mana, 6/5. Whenever a creature dies, target won't lose 2 life, gain 2 life. So that's that like drain effect going for you again there. And I just love the Vein Ripper. The Roaming Throne, yeah, it has to be in the deck, but I couldn't get my hands on it because Roaming Throne just gets shoved in literally every Commander type deck, I think. So I had to get it in here too, but yeah, it was not in stock when I tried to like purchase it. Okay, so those are the creatures. Time to go to the sorceries. Eaten Alive, good removal. Like, I think removal is just so important in Commander. So I play a lot of it. Like, removal is OP. 1 mana, exile target creature or planeswalker, and as an additional cost to cast a spell, you either sacrifice a creature you pay 4. Not a problem. Feed to Swarm, I mean, we have to find a way to deal with enchantments in black one way or another, and that's just like Feed to Swarm. Pitiless Carnage, sacrifice any number of permanents you control, then draw that many cards. It's kind of like my way to vibe with, like, you know, if I didn't have one of those, like, sacrifice outlets, I could just sacrifice a bunch of zombies to draw some cards. So that's kind of the idea, in that we do love card draw. Rush of Dread, 3 mana street card. Target opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control, rounded up. We love that. Target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded up. We love that. Target opponent loses half their life, rounded up. Like, it's just a super flexible and versatile card, and it's just good. So I decided to, like, shove a Rush of Dread in here. And if you want to get a little bit spicier and a little bit evil, you can shove a copy of, like, a Bloodletter of Ashlizzle in a deck, and you have an infinite combo. There you go, you know? Or not an infinite combo, you have a combo that, like, kills an opponent. So if that's what you're looking for, you could go for that. Dark Salvation! Obviously, I have to play the zombie, like, removal. Target player creates X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, then up to 1 target creature gets -1/-2 until the end of turn for each zombie that player controls. Just works great. Ghoul's Night Out, like, once again, this is kind of like one of the meme cards in here. Like, I'm not playing a zombie. I'm not playing, like, a Gisa deck without Ghoul's Night Out in it. Like, the Girl's Night Out, just super flavorful. 5 mana for each player. Choose a creature card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield. Under your control, they're black zombies in addition to other types. Like, it's a good card as well. Don't get me wrong, but the flavor, you know. And yeah, there's the Thoughtseize. Memes. Memes and cheap crimes. Like, that's all I can say. I cannot wait to eat shit for this. It is what it is. Lethal Scheme. Great black removal. Pile on, great black removal, especially in these, like, go white decks, you know. Tragic Slip, the classic, like, black removal. Village Rites, a little bit of card draw and, like, sacrifice, like, payoff in a way, right? Go for the Throat, good removal. Deadly Dispute, card draw, and a little bit of ramp in the form of the treasure. Bitter Triumph, good removal. Infernal Grasp, good removal. Plumb the Forbidden, really sweet if you go wide. 2 mana as an additional cost to cast a spell. You may sacrifice 1 or more creatures. And when you do, copy the spell for each creature sacrifices away. You draw a card, you lose 1 life. So you could just sacrifice a whole zombie army, especially if you have something like Blood Artist on the board, and then draw a bunch of cards and ping a bunch of opponents, and life is good. So, I also wonder if this deck wants the Marionette from MH3. I think the Marionette says, like, each... Does the Marionette say each opponent? I'm not sure. Let me check. Each opponent. Okay, see, that's pretty good. The Marionette Apprentice could be shoved in this deck as well. All right, anyways. Malicious Affliction. Good stuff. Malakir Rebirth. Kind of like I want to have, like, a little bit of, like, an MDFC in here. So Malakir Rebirth to protect Gisa is kind of nice. Because Gisa is a kind of relatively, in my eyes, expensive commander. So being able to, like, protect her, especially when she has such a huge, like, target on her back, because she's just so strong, kind of important. So Malakir Rebirth, I was like, why not? The classics, we're gonna go to artifacts now. Arcane Signet, Soul Ring. I mean, there's a bunch of, like, other, like, you know, like, mana rocks, I guess, that you could use. I didn't want to have too many. That was also kind of like the thing in our pod as well. Like, we didn't want to, like, ramp up like crazy for, like, people. We still wanted to have some, like, turns. So I'm just working with an Arcane Signet and a Soul Ring, and that's kind of the vibe. Liquid Metal Torque. Target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. So not only is it a rock, but it's also a way to commit crimes. Like, I gotta do that. Heraldic Banner. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color, which would be black. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+0. And that 1 mana of the chosen color. Like I said, there's still, like, some ways for me to, like, ramp up with the mana rocks, but, like, not a ridiculous amount. And not a whole lot anyways. So, actually, I remember now. Where is this card? I think I ended up not playing a removal spell because it wasn't available, and I think I played a Dark Ritual eventually. That was just because, like, I did not know what to add, and I was like, fuck it, I might as well shove a Dark Ritual in it. I'll have to look. I have to go over, like, my 100 cards and see which one exactly, like, I had to take out for the Dark Ritual. Or, like, not really what I had to take out, but, like, what the store didn't have in stock, because I'm pretty sure I Dark Ritualed. But yeah, that's, like, in here too, to, like, ramp up into your commander for vibes. But that was probably like one of the removal spells, I guess. Like, I'm not sure if I ended up playing Go for the Throat. I don't think I did. So, could be that that was the Dark Ritual. Just for vibes. Skull Clamp, I mean... Skull Clamp's in here because, like, the other decks had, like, similar, like, fantastic, like... Dr. Lupo's deck specifically had really good, you know, like, staples in there. And, you know, good card draw in there. And we were just like, I gotta make sure that my deck can, like, keep up. So if you're playing Skull Clamp, I'm playing Skull Clamp, that kind of vibe. Palantir or Thank. This card is nuts, dude. 3 mana artifact. At the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter on Palantir and scry 2. Then target opponent may have you draw a card. Target opponent, commit a crime. If the player doesn't, you mill X cards, where X is the number of influence counters on Palantir, and the player loses life equal to the total mana value of those cards. Sick, like, crime outlet. Great ways to draw cards. Also, great pressure on your opponents. Big fan of Palantir for Thank. I think this card is awesome. And we spoke of this already earlier. The Agatha Soul Cauldron. A card that I would tutor into if I could. Or if I wanted to, I guess is the right way to say it. 2 mana artifact. Creatures you control with 1/1 counters on it have all activated abilities of all creatures cards. Exile with Agatha's Cauldron. And that's obviously the activated ability where you can tap the Cauldron and exile a target card from a graveyard. Ding ding, commit a crime. When a creature card is exiled this way, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature control. And you can just, like, steal or, like, grab a bunch of really good activated abilities that these, like, zombies carry and give them to all your other zombies. And it's just awesome. A few enchantments. Tiny Bones joins up. Also really, really strong in this deck. I would maybe even tutor for Tiny. Would I? I don't know. Maybe. When it ends the battlefield, any number of target players each discard a card. Good way to commit a crime. And it's just, like, a really, like, boss bitch, like, turn 1. I've had it a couple times now. Turn 1, Tiny Bones joins up. The whole, like, table discards a card. It's just really cool. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield in your control, any number of target players, each mill card lose 1 life. That just curves so nicely into Gisa. Like, that just curves really well into her. And all the other, like, legendary creatures that are, like, in the deck. Desert Invasion, if you're playing a zombie deck, like, this is just really good. Endless Ranks of the Dead. Once again, if you're playing a zombie deck, you would want some Endless Ranks of the Dead in your deck. Black Market Connections, Black Staple, Dr. Lupo had it. I was like, do I really want this? Then, you know, Black Staple card. And, yeah, to try and, like, match the table a little bit, we'll have some Black Market Connections in there. The Meat Hook Massacre, like, you know, you already know I had to, like, we're like a sacrifice deck. We care about, like, the ability. And, you know, this is kind of, like, one of the few board wipes, or is it, like, the only board wipe that I gave myself access to? I do want to have, like, at least 1 board wipe in a deck. And, you know, that's kind of what we're vibing with. So lands, there's not a whole lot of things out there outside of just, like, good, like, black lands, because we're a monocolor deck. We have access to that. So what you'll see in these lands is that there's, like, a synergy between, like, you know, good black cards or, like, the black lands, and then also, like, some ways to commit crimes. So Sunscore Desert deals 1 damage to target player. Perfect. We commit a crime. Barren Moor, just classic. Field of Ruin. Yeah, so not to be a baddie, but there are some, like, fair land destruction lands in here, because it's just a nice way to commit a crime on anyone else's turn. And that's kind of, like, as far as that goes. Like, it's not... I'm not, like, trying to be, like, evil with it, but it's like, I need to find ways to consistently commit crimes on my opponent's turns to really get value out of Gisa. And, you know, there's just a good way to do that through lands, like Field of Ruins, for instance, which is cottage, mono, like, when you're playing a mono black commander, just really sweet land. Demolition Field, there you go again, land destruction, because it commits crimes. Diamond City, really sweet. So, and there's a battlefield with a shield counter on it. You can tap it for, like, colorless, but you can also tap it to move a shield counter from Diamond City onto target creature. Activate only if 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield you control this turn. There you go, again, a way to commit a crime if you need it. And also a way to, like, protect your Gisa, which is pretty cool. Or protect your commander, I guess. Ghost Quarter, did I end up getting my hands on this card? I might have. Destroy target land. Its controller may searches our library for a basic land card. So once again, destroy target land, not a problem, we commit crimes. It could be that I eventually thought that this card was a little bit too good, though. Snow-covered swamp, not sure why this... So initially, this deck had Field of the Dead in there. I ended up not doing it because I didn't think it was going to be consistent enough. But that's why the snow-covered swamp is still, like, laying in here, basically. Paradur, good legendary land, and it's a battlefield tapped, and you control a legendary creature, a way to amass orcs if you activate only if creature died this turn, which we are really in control of in the sacrifice deck. Bajuka Bog, I mean, you know, good way to, like, work with, like, a little bit of graveyard hate you needed to. Reliquary Tower, classic. Played 11 swamps at the end in this deck. So there you go. I mean, this is a 35 land deck, because you already know I will always cut a land out of all my decks. Like the classic is about like 36 lands that you have normally in commander decks. I'm not doing that. I'm doing 35. We don't want to flood. Desert, there you go. Again, deals 1 damage to target attacking creature, aka commit a crime. We love that. Castle Locthwain, card draw, Takenuma, classic. The Black Gate. Did I end up? Yeah, I did end up getting this card. Just choose a player with the most life or tied for the most life. Target creature can't be blocked. What is that? A crime. There you go. Like, the lands are really just also fantastic ways to like help you commit crimes, which is one of the coolest things like about this deck in my opinion. Shizo's Death Storehouse. There you go. Target creature. Target legendary creature gains fear. Oh, what is that? Ooh, a way to commit a crime. There you go. This is what is the card say again? There we go. Okay, I can't even put target zombie card from your graveyard on top of your library, just like the zombie land. Wasteland, destroy target non-basic land. I don't know if I ended up putting this in here. I think it was because Dr. Lupa also had a wasteland. Yes, that's it. So like Dr. Lupa, I didn't want to do Wasteland, but I think Dr. Lupa had Wasteland. So I was like, if you're doing that, I'm doing it. And once again, it commits crimes. But if it was in a group of friends playing Commander, like I'm not going to actively activate my Wastelands. Unless I feel like being a hater, you know? But yeah, great way to commit crime. Phyrexian Tower, great way to ramp up. Nykthos, great way to ramp up. Cavern of Souls, you gotta when you're playing a typal deck. Urborg, each land is a swamp in addition to those other types, which is nice if you have some like access to like a lot of lands that might not produce black. But overall, I think the deck is designed in a way that it was fine. Yeah, and here you see the Field of Dead. I could not get my hands on this, so it explains things, but I don't think it made this the final like 100. Even though if you want to still vibe with the Field of the Dead, I don't think that's really a downside to doing it. But that's it. Just yapping for 30 minutes about this deck. As you can tell, I'm like pretty passionate about like building these commander decks. I hope you enjoy something like this. If you want to see some more like commander decks, I could happily like make a deck on every commander deck that I build. I'm hoping to be on a lot more like commander shows. If anybody's watching this with their own commander show and like to have me as a guest, I would love to play more commander. Like the only opportunities I have to play commander are like Magicons, conventions, or like, you know, when I get to like hang out with friends in America, because I don't really have a lot of people that I play Magic with where I live, which is in the Netherlands, so, or the UK, depending on where I am. And any opportunity I get to play like a jamming game of Commander, I take. Maybe I should like start up my own like spell table games on stream or something. That could be pretty cool. Just invite some guests and play some Commander if you guys are, and I would shove them on YouTube, of course, as well. So, yeah, Commander is a cool game, and like, what an incredible opportunity. And I'm so grateful for the professor inviting me to come up on Shuffle Up and play. I hope the episode is good. Like I said, it was really like a trip for me because I was like quite nervous, like the first, like, I would say like the first like 30 minutes or something. Eventually like I warmed up a little bit and it was all fine. I still have some like really fun stories too. Like there was actually a different ending that I won't talk about. Gisa did, you know. But yeah, we had to like, there were some like things with the rules and we had to like reshoot something. I won't say too much, but the Gisa deck is good. Let me just tell you that much. And if you want to see the Gisa deck shine as well, like I said, you can check it out on Shuffle Up and Play. The episode dropped today. So go over to the Tolarian Community College, leave a nice comment, and you can also check it out on the Worst Possible Commander Show with Covert Go Blue over on the Covert Go Blue YouTube channel, which is really sweet. I'll see if I can like link the videos in the description below. Oh my god, yapping for 30 minutes, but yeah, Commander is cool, and I like the deck building aspect to it a lot, and you know, thank you for supporting me along the way. I have no idea if this video will do well. I'm not sure, but this is for my Commander besties, and you know, I would also like when the Game Nights Live episode gets like uploaded, I will probably do another video where I like talk about my experience with that, because you know, that was a whole thing. Where's my... What is that in the background? Is that a championship belt? I don't know. For the people that follow me on Twitter, you probably know already. But that was also an incredible experience. So yeah, the Commander community is adopting me, and You know, where it's like the competitive Magic like community. I've been well, not really community. Competitive Magic has not been incredibly kind to me the past like 2 years. I was really like shining throughout the pandemic, and after that, like this, it's been kind of rough. So apparently, Commander is fun, and apparently I'm a pretty decent Commander player. So if we take those, and on that note, thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening to me yap. And I hope you liked this little like change of pace here. Tomorrow, we're just going to go back to some standard gameplay. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this Commander video. And I would love to see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Shuffle Up and Play episode. And also check out Coverco Blue's channel, because Coverco Blue is awesome. And Coverco Blue really gave me a good boot camp for like game nights live, allowing me to play a bunch of Commander games with his incredible crew. So that's all for now. I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one, everyone.